If Christian women only knew how hard it was for men to stay pure, they wouldn't dress the way they did at the gym.
Prepare to be mad because I'm back with more purity culture comments that will make you want to scream. I wasn't allowed to do my laundry when my brothers were home because they might see my bra when I brought it back up to my room. Purity culture was so ingrained in me that I had a full-blown panic attack the first time I went to go get a pelvic exam. I kept thinking about how angry my future husband would be at me that he wasn't the first. I was 13 years old. I was told by my church camp counselor that the half-inch slits on the side of my khaki skirt were like arrows pointing up and it would make boys want to sin. Before my sister's wedding, the wedding party went to the lake and my sister made a rule that none of the girls could wear bikinis because men are visual creatures. These are adults. When I was a kid, I used to get told that I had bedroom eyes a lot. And surprisingly, I have not been told that as an adult. I was told that if I kissed a man before my wedding day, that I would be denying my husband a beautiful gift. I was 12 years old. I got expelled from our church school because I refused to read a book that was a part of our curriculum. In the book, it said that date grapes are initiated by a girl's immodest dressing. I stood up in the class, said that the book was wrong and that I wasn't going to read it. Nobody backed me up and I was not welcome back. And this one's not exactly purity culture, but I had to include it because what the hell? My dentist told me that I had a very small mouth and that my husband would be very lucky someday. I was 11 years old. Keep commenting your insane purity culture stories and I will keep reading them.
Its place is something new.
Colonialism never ended. It just looks different now. And one of the main ways it continues is through the global food system. First, just because colonizers physically left the land doesn't mean those countries are free from their impact. In many cases, what was once land meant for local food production have been cleared to grow crops for export. In Sri Lanka, for example, the British took over tons of highland forest in order to grow tea, which still contributes $1.3 billion to annual exports. In Ghana, cocoa was introduced in the 1800s and still make up a quarter of the exports. And in the Caribbean, islands like Jamaica and Barbados had their land transformed into monocultures for sugar production. So even after independence, many of these economies still rely on their former colonizers as trade partners. Then there's direct continued extraction of local resources. Off the coast of West Africa, for example, ships from the EU and China have bought access to the country's exclusive economic zones to catch millions of tons of fish annually, including important varieties like the gray mullet, which local communities have historically relied on for food. Because these foreign fleets are heavily subsidized, local fisheries can't compete. On top of that, in-country processing plants are often foreign-owned, creating these food supply chains that generate huge profits for foreign entities that the local community never see. And let's not forget the court system. When local communities or the newly emancipated governments try to fight back, multinational corporations and former colonizers often use the legal system to exert dominance. Monsanto, for example, has intellectual property rights on their seeds, so farmers that use them have to re-buy them every year. If farmers try to save their seeds and replant them, Monsanto sues, and most often wins. From 1997 to 2018, Monsanto won every single intellectual property lawsuit that went to trial in the US and Canada. And finally, there's money, but always with strings attached. Institutions like the IMF and World Bank will sweep in and offer loans to countries in crisis, but with big caveats. Most often, terms for local government include opening their market up for foreign imports, privatizing their agriculture, and cutting social safety nets. Bolivia, for example, accepted a loan and then was required to remove subsidies for staples like rice and cooking oil. Naturally, the prices for these essentials then skyrocketed. They also had to accept foreign imported goods, which put a lot of local farmers out of business. It also drove down domestic production, so then more and more people became dependent on heavily processed goods or foreign imports. At its heart, colonialism is about extracting resources from others in a way that keeps them perpetually undermined and dependent. And it's not a thing of the past. Colonialism is absolutely a contemporary problem.
This is everything that just happened on the news today, but I'm gonna simplify it for you in 60 seconds. NASA has just found the strongest evidence of life on Mars yet. Okay. So this rock that was just drilled by the Perseverance rover is now showing textures and minerals that on Earth often come from microbes, which is obviously life. The only thing that experts are saying about this right now is that they need to bring it back to Earth to do proper lab tests. Uber is now planning to let customers book helicopter rides through their app. So Uber just announced their plans to let customers book helicopter rides directly through the app so they can expand into premium travel options. They're saying that this would offer a faster way to bypass traffic in major cities. Dude, imagine taking a helicopter to go to Taco Bell. This new study is now showing that making your bed actually makes you 206% more likely to become a millionaire. So they're saying that if you're somebody that makes your bed in the morning, it actually shifts your mindset. It sets the tone for discipline, follow through, and a get it done sort of attitude that would carry on to possibly make you a millionaire. This photographer just captured a stunning photo of a volcano that looks like an eye. So they're saying that this photographer's image has now officially been named the Photographer of the Year in 2024 in an international contest. The photo of this volcano was actually taken in Iceland, but it literally does look like an eyeball. I give you these news roundups every day, so make sure you add me and come back to me tomorrow.
As your friend, if you are fucking with somebody and they're not shit, that's not really my issue. I'm gonna listen to you talk about them as many times as you need to. If you want to talk about them 15 times, 38 times, you can come talk to me about the same person 158 times. Because I love you, I'm gonna listen every single time. I know you deserve better. You know you deserve better, but you still need somebody to talk to, right? The last thing you need is somebody that's gonna tell you to leave when you know you need to. So if you need a friend when you know you being dizzy behind somebody, I got you. I've been dizzy behind a nigga before. I get it, okay?
Anytime a man refuses to do something for you, just remember there is a woman out there that he will do it for and will do it happily. It's just not you. That's why I hate it when people try to justify this on either side. Whether it's the man trying to justify, oh, I don't really buy flowers, I don't really buy dinners, I don't really do gifts. Bullshit, yes you do. I hate it even more when women justify it and be like, oh, he's just not that type of guy, he doesn't really do that. Men have loved women to the point of invention. Men have loved women to the point of like sacrificing themselves for her. Men have loved women to like doing something extremely tedious and time consuming, even if it's every single day. Men have loved women to the point of that. We just let a lot of men get away with a lot less, and then women end up taking on the negative consequences of that. The negative consequences of being loved only halfway. Negative consequences of a man settling for you. We've basically have normalized that for women and told them that it's okay, like if he doesn't do this kind of stuff for you, or he doesn't do that, or he stopped doing this or that after you guys got married. It's okay, that's just how guys are. He still loves you, like he still, you know, comes home every night, doesn't he? He still brings home a paycheck, doesn't he? All of that, all of a sudden, I promise you, will become irrelevant when you end up in this situation where your husband hasn't cooked for you in years, but just spent the last 3 hours baking a homemade cake for his work wife's birthday. And I bet it turned out pretty good too. Please be very sure that I'm not saying this in order to justify these men's behavior in some other way. I'm just letting you know this is how they're socialized. They will go out of their way for a woman that they want to be with. So if they're going out of their way for another woman and not for you, then there's one of you that they want to be with and one of you that they're just with until that other one gives him the signal that she's ready to be with him. That's why he's doing all of these things, is showing off for her now. This is why I say stuff like don't date or marry nonchalant men. Men will not be nonchalant when they want to be with you. And regardless of whether you like a nonchalant attitude or not, I'm sure you don't want to end up in this situation. I'm sure you don't want to find yourself 5 to 8 years later saying, oh my God, I'm actually miserable because he doesn't do anything for me. But all of a sudden there's this woman at work that he is like sharing his lunch with and he's baking homemade cakes for, and he hasn't bought me cards or flowers or anything like that in years, but all of a sudden he's like gonna stop by the store and get her a card, and he picks out a thoughtful one. He writes an inside joke in it. All of these like memories with her. He even has pictures with her. He refuses refuses to take pictures with me, but he has pictures with her. And it's like, that's the situation you're going to end up with when you allow a nonchalant man to weasel his way into your life, become a parasite, basically just hang around until he finds the woman that he's really interested in. Like, that's really messed up. It's messed up that we normalize that as a society, because then it hurts extra bad when things like this happen. Like, I know that hurt your feelings. I know it did. It would hurt mine too. If a man ever like stops doing something, starts acting more nonchalant towards you, those are just the beginning stages of him getting ready to let you go. Like, he's probably already testing the waters somewhere else, and I'm just speaking like statistically. In the 13 years that we've been married, my husband has only escalated the things that he does for me. He has not scaled them back, and that's all I really need to know, because the bonus part of that is that I'm always benefiting. When you're in a marriage like this and your husband doesn't cook for you, like, what is the point of you being in a marriage? What else is he bringing to the table? What else does he even do? At best, I bet this man sometimes picks up after himself. Like, you'd be better off on your own. Why are you even with a man who doesn't cook for you? He's not husband material. He definitely stopped being husband material the moment he started cooking for another woman. Like, he's showing her that he's husband material. Best part is, he's just gonna do it all again. You know what I mean? I'm not even saying that this new woman is gonna be treated right or be treated better. I'm saying that's this man's character. He's gonna do that to anybody that he's with. But what makes it extra gross is that he wasn't like that when you were dating, when you were getting married. He did all the right things. And so that's the part that really sucks. Hope that helps. Stay safe out there, ladies. I love you so much. Mwah.
Why is bullying so normalized on the internet now? Why is it so easy for us to be so mean to each other? Like, tell me why. I just saw this video of this lady, and she was trying to make a rotisserie chicken or something, and she shoved it in the oven and she took it out. It looks, albeit a little rubbery, a little, plasticky, sure. But instead of being like, oh, it's, you could have put, the chicken in there for a little bit longer. You should have put some seasoning on it. The entire comment section was just shitting on her food. Like, and it's like hundreds of thousands of likes too on this video. Just like dragging her, okay? Hundreds of thousands of there's a stitch of somebody like dragging her. And then there's almost 1 million fucking likes on this video. Like, why are we so horrible? Like, imagine sharing your culinary arts and your process of making food on the internet, and then everybody just take a shit on it. How would that make you feel? How does that lady feel? You know what I mean? Like, just be better, man. Just be better. We all gotta send y'all meanies to the moon or something so you can be mean to each other. Like, what the
Protests have officially started.
White man fight back! White man fight back! White man fight back!
Following Charlie Kirk's horrific death, protests have broken out in California. You're reading that right. This protest is by neo-Nazis, and what are they screaming? White men fight back, complete with American flags and Christian flags featuring Jesus. And at this point, the jokes write themselves, because if you haven't heard, the shooter suspected in Charlie Kirk's death is a white man. And though no one's ever claimed neo-Nazis to be the smartest group of people, this protest, along with everything else that has to do with what has happened this week, we have reached a new level of weird irony. Because these white male protesters are literally saying they're not only ready and willing to fight, if this guy actually turns out to be the killer, these white guys will literally be fighting one of their own. So while the world watches this protest, the question still remains. Who are they planning on fighting? And what exactly is going to happen when they find out that the person they're mad at is one of their own? And if they really don't know, please no one tell them, because this is hilarious.
If you're neurodivergent, I was just mystified for years by this idea that we can feel feelings in our bodies, we feel emotions in our bodies. What does that mean? I don't even know how to tell you what emotion I am feeling, let alone where in my body I am feeling it. 4 years of therapy later, okay? If you have a tummy ache, for example, or a headache, you consciously become aware that somewhere in your body existed when you hadn't been thinking about it. That's when you go, why? What was I thinking about the moment the headache or the tummy ache started? Next, you ask yourself, if I stop thinking about that thing and think about a different thing, does my headache or tummy ache go away? And the answer is yes. That's probably where the headache and tummy ache is coming from. And that headache and tummy ache is your feeling and emotion. You're welcome.
Isn't it amazing?
Yeah, I just gotta be honest, I don't know what the big deal is.
Get out.
Apple just dropped the brand new iPhone 17 lineup yesterday, and Samsung just instantly pulled up with the meanest roast session of 2025. Apple just basically announced the new iPhone Air, and they said, here's the thinnest iPhone ever, triple 48 megapixel cameras, and AirPods that can translate languages in real time. Samsung just replied to that and said 48 megapixels times 3 still does not equal 200 megapixels. They said, sit down, your math ain't mathin'. And then Apple just hyped up sleep tracking like it's a brand new piece of software, and Samsung instantly clapped back. They said hashtag I can't believe some people had to wait 5 years for a sleep score. And then after that, Apple just flexed with their new AirPods Pro that can live translate conversations as it's happening. Samsung just replied to that and said, welcome to the party, you're late. Basically saying that Apple just now discovered Google Translate with earbuds. Samsung just went and pulled out an old tweet from 2022 and they said, let us know when it folds. And then they added hashtag I can't believe this is still relevant. Dude, that is a 3-year-old receipt. They have been holding on to that like it was a coupon. At this point, obviously Apple's event was called All Dropping, but Samsung just dropped the mic. Did Apple just win with the new iPhone 17 lineup, or did Samsung just win and it wasn't even their event? This is everything that just happened on the news today, but I'm gonna simplify it for you in 60 seconds. The US Appeals Court just allowed Trump to cut off Medicaid funds to Planned Parenthood, so the Federal Appeals Court is now allowing the Trump administration to move forward in their plan to stop providing Medicaid reimbursement to large abortion providers, including Planned Parenthood for now. This new study is finding that people who stress and overthink often actually tend to be smarter. Okay. So this neuroscience study has just found that patients with generalized anxiety disorders actually scored higher on IQ tests compared to healthy people. This Italian mechanic just officially built the world's narrowest car. So this Italian mechanic just transformed a 1993 Fiat Panda into the world's narrowest functioning car, and it is just 50 centimeters wide. This car is actually thinner than a motorcycle, and it works on an electric motor. People have already started to notice the flaws with the new iPhone as Samsung savagely trolls Apple. So a lot of people have actually been talking about the new iPhone Air because of how thin it is, but if you look at the bottom of it where you plug in a charger, it's actually not even aligned and it's not even. The bottom of the port is actually weighed more on one side, which isn't that big of a deal, but people say that they can't stop noticing it now. I give you these news roundups every day, so make sure you add me and come back to me tomorrow.
Hi, I need your help. I'm being sued, potentially facing jail time for sharing this video online. Trigger warning.
I was raised by some dumb cunt like you.
The person who did this to me does not want this video out there, I think for obvious reasons. And this person appears to have a lot of access to influence in the courts as well as wealth. I have a story time with like 7 parts in it. I'm gonna try to go live and make some candles to sell on here to go towards my defense fund. But please just like check out my story time. It's honestly really crazy. And hopefully I won't go to jail. Thanks.